armed citizens. Today you will hear the story about one day that changed the course of history. It is a story about tragedy and how the human spirit overcomes tragedy. There are many people who have needed help after the events of 9/11, but today the National Honor Society of Evergreen Park Community High School would like to announce a drive to raise money for a group who did their duty many years before the tragedy of 9/11. We will be raising money over the next several months for Honor Flight Chicago, an organization dedicated to flying all Chicagoland World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. to see their memorials and to be honored. This will include proceeds from the ribbon sold today, a hat day in the future, as well as something special during homecoming week. We will appreciate any and all help. On the morning of September 11, 2001, Americans woke up to a relatively peaceful and secure existence. When they went to bed that night, America was a very different place. The unexpected attacks on American soil by 19 hijackers would test the limits of our nation's spirit. We felt pain and suffering never before experienced, except on the fields of open combat. This attack wounded us, yet it did not diminish our American character. Though we were wounded, countless people, regardless of religion, race, or political beliefs, did what they could to aid those in great need. We are honored to have two of those individuals here today. Please let me introduce Mrs. Joan Bunny Butler, fireman, Chicago Fire Department, retired, and Captain George Rabiella, Chicago Fire Department, also retired. Thank you for coming. Would you tell us just a little bit about your service with Chicago?
I retired as a captain. At the time of 9/11, I was a deputy district chief. I was in charge of public education. I was the coordinator for public education for the city of Chicago. And I came out in 1977 and did 30 years of service with the Chicago Fire Department.
I came out in 1995 with the Chicago Fire Department, retired in 2007. And I also still work with the Chicago Fire Department. I retired as a firefighter, but I also work with the Chicago Firefighters Union as a grief counselor there.
Talk a little bit about where you were and what went through your minds when you first heard of the attack.
Well, being in the office, I had an office job it only lasted a year and a half. It was an appointed position. I was on my way. I had a city car, a black car, and I was headed to the office, and I'm hearing all these reports on the radio, and I just couldn't hear I couldn't believe what I was hearing. When I got to the office, I went upstairs, and immediately I seen the guys there sitting there watching the news, and I'll tell you, you'll never forget that. I'm sure every one of that has experienced this knows where they were at that moment, and I was on my way to work.
Well, I was at the firehouse. I'm assigned to O'Hare Engine 9, and I was at O'Hare Airport. And I was just getting ready to leave my shift, and the plane hit the first tower. So we were in the kitchen watching the television, and then the plane hit the second tower. And then, like everybody else, we all knew there was something really wrong, that it had to be some type of an attack. And then my next thought was my daughter, who was in the Sears Tower, 8 months pregnant at that time, and I was very concerned about her being in that building.
Can you talk a little bit about how the call went out for help and how long it was after the attack you went to New York?
Well, being at the Fire Academy, that's where my office was. Our commissioner now, he was in charge of the academy, Robert Hoff. So what they did, they started getting together a caravan of members that were going to go down there with equipment and stuff to help. Well, I was so antsy, and I just couldn't, I says, how am I going to get there? I had a dog by the name of Moses that I trained for probably about 3 years for search and rescue. So what I did is I called Southwest Airlines, and they flew me in the 110-pound Shepherd. They put us in the front seat, and they drove us, or they flew us to MacArthur Airport. The police picked us up there, and they drove us to Ground Zero, where we were able to help the New York Fire Department.
Okay, how I was sent to Ground Zero, I was there on October the 11th, and FEMA asked us to assist the firefighters there, and also the International Association of Firefighters. We were crisis-trained counselors. We were there from October the 10th to October the 16th, and we did 8-hour shifts there around the clock. There were 10 of us that attended this particular, 10 of us that were asked to go to Ground Zero. One was a priest, one was a social worker, the rest of us were paramedics and firefighters. The priest that we had with us was Father Bargmeyer from St. Catherine's Parish. And from the result of this particular horrible incident, he left the parish and signed up as a military in Iraq.
Captain Rabiella led a dog through the rubble searching for remains. It was Captain Rabiella's job. So what was your first impression?
My first impression was I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was so much destruction there. And I'll tell you, I don't care how much training you have. And I trained with that dog probably about four years prior to that, and we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared for that type of destruction. Matter of fact, my first day, I got kicked off the pile because I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, and that's how humbling it was. But I started to watch and see, because I was getting caught up in all the rubble and stuff, and I was actually humbled and kicked off the pile. Can you imagine that? Well, I'll tell you, after observing for a while and seeing how the dogs were working and what was going on, I started to learn, and I was very proud of my Moses, my 110-pound shepherd. The last day, he did a phenomenal job. He was cut. He had 3 stitches in his back paw. They ate it. They had vets right on the ground there, and they bandaged him up, and they put a red, white, and blue bandage on him. And injured, the way the dog was injured, he still, the last day, it was phenomenal. I took off my gear. I had a little helmet, and I had a sweatshirt, and we were going through all the rubble. We found a couple of fire department trucks that were crushed, and we took the shirts from the men. That's all we found there. We never found anybody. My dog was he was more like a therapy dog. He just the firemen there loved him, and they were able to help there. And I'm sure Bonnie knows about therapy, and I'll tell you, the guys really needed that. That had to be the hardest thing, losing 343 firemen.
Yes, it was. For all the training that we had, we kind of threw it all out the window. What you learn in the class and what you learn about grief and loss, I mean, I've learned it in my own life. But this was so devastating for the firefighters to lose so many of their brothers. It was like losing their whole family. And one of the images that really stick in my mind is when I arrived there, the dust, the burning of our eyes, the machinery, bulldozers, Red Cross trucks, cars, they were like little ants in this giant hill. And what I was really proud of was I saw young people your age in Red Cross trucks passing out water, and we had different debris on our boots. And when we took a break, the young people wanted to were there with hoses trying to wash the debris off of our boots, and we didn't want them to do it. We thought we didn't want to be doing anything like that for us. Not that we were that important at all. We were just there to help. But one of the images that really stay in my mind is when the machine stopped. We knew that there was a hole there somewhere that the firefighters were going to go in to look for a body. And there was a soundness. Everything just stopped. Every machine, you could have dropped a pin in the whole place. And the firefighters would go in there and take parts out, and they would come out with a red bag. And this red bag was put in a cart and was covered with the American flag. And what we did at that time, when that body part was taken out and covered with the flag and was driven by a firefighter to the morgue, we all stood in attention and saluted.
Yeah, I want to add something to that. I had a friend of mine, Robert, he was a fireman, Osler, and he went down there. He's also a pastor on his job, and what he did, whenever they found a part of somebody, they found a finger or an arm, they would have the funeral right there, and they would say a prayer for the victim and the families. Two guys that I never met, Scott Larson and Andre Fletcher, two guys that I remember. Matter of fact, I forgot to mention to the other group, but I embroidered their names on I drive an old fire truck. I take people on tours. And on the back of the seats, I have their names embroidered because these are two heart-wrenching stories that came out of one fire station. There was the station where I slept for the 5 days when I went there was Engine 4, Ladder 15 in Lower Manhattan. And Scott Larson, his wife, gave birth to a baby girl 3 days after the towers came down. Scott died in the attack there. The other guy, Andre Fletcher, I have his name embroidered there. He's a black fireman. I worked with his identical twin brother. He's two New York firemen. And can you imagine losing an identical twin? It just broke my heart. I felt so bad I wanted to give him my dog. Because he really liked my dog. I asked him if he wanted him, you know.
Is there anything, that the young people, that you think the young people should take away from today, what they should remember about the attacks?
The reason I came here, first of all, because I raised 5 teenagers, and I couldn't believe these many teenagers would pay attention to what I said. But anyway, the main reason I came here because I hope and pray that you'll never, never forget what happened on that day. The images will forever be in my mind, and what I want to present to you is never forget what a great country we had and what a horrible act of cowardliness and hatred was done to this country. But it's amazing the spirit of our country and the great freedom that we have.
Well, the thing I'd like the students to take away with them is, when I was there, I seen how the country pulled together. And I want you guys never to forget that freedom isn't free. Guys have lost their life for it.
Captain Rabiella has a presentation we'd like to make to our school.
On behalf of all the heroes from Ground Zero that lost their life, I'd like to give this patch to the school. I know it's going to be put in a prominent spot here, and so you guys never forget what happened there. And let's come together as a country and treat each other with love and respect. That's what these guys, they died, and I'd like to present this to the school.
A young girl, 11 years old, in the Philippines, longed for some peace in her country, which experienced a civil war. Her poem, I Am But a Small Voice, was the international winner from UNICEF. It was Song of Peace of Children. We're going to sing it for you now.
smile.